Welcome to After Dark at the Fixed Ops Roundtable, featuring Cara Delane and Ted Ings. This episode is brought to you by BG Products, partners beyond products. And now for your hosts, Ted Ings and Cara Delane.
Welcome everyone to After Dark at the Fixed Ops Roundtable, and I am excited for tonight, Ted. I've got the Farrah Fawcett hair going on. What happened to your hair? Where's the
I have all my hair, okay? And but tonight, Cara, I think we are going to see some true 80s hair, all right, that you and I cannot compete with, because Cara has a great Guess Who coming up today. You don't want to miss it. We're going to have the audience interact. Michelle McLean is with us tonight for the full half hour. Welcome, Michelle. And Nick DePrima from UFO Drive, a new guest who's really making a lot of waves. Things happen in automotive. Nick, welcome. And Tony Owens, good evening to you, my friend. I've been following you on social media. So, Cara, we're live, right?
We are live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So everybody watching us tonight, please share the video and comment down below for our guest. And like Ted was saying, we have a new game tonight. So stick around for that. And hopefully everybody will know what each of those photos are.
And this is going to be a super fun game. So, Cara, I am personally looking forward to it because I am not sure exactly everything that's going to happen tonight. However, I do know that BG Products is our exclusive sponsor for After Dark. So I want to thank them, BG Products, for all they're doing in the industry, partners beyond products, and a lot to come with BG. And stay tuned. We have a lot of news shortly to follow. So BG, thank you again for all you do. And the reason, Cara, for the hair, what's coming up? What's going to happen here in about 5 weeks?
Yes, it's coming up quick. Our next Fixed Ops Roundtable Back to the 80s event is on May 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th. So we're gearing up for the 80s with the hair, the outfits. All of our guests are joining in on all the fun. And so if you haven't already got your complimentary tickets, you can get them today at fixedopsroundtable.com.
So, Nick DePrima, if you ask what Michelle McLean does, you're looking at what she does. She creates the graphics like the one you're looking at with Ed Roberts, Sarah Van Tyne, Cara Delane, and Tully Williams. This is our anchor image, and all of the graphics, the colors, the themes, the fonts are all courtesy of Michelle. Sean Butler, happy Monday to you as well. So, Nick, great stuff that Michelle does. Okay, Cara, a little bit of housekeeping before we get to Nick, if I may. You had a post today on social media, and it looked, Cara, like a mixtape. Did you see that post, Michelle?
I did. That was super awesome.
So I want to kind of check I want to start off tonight, okay, a little trivia, and see if you all can help with this. If you notice, Farrah Delane there, okay, is doing the Back to the 80s mixtape. And if you look on the cassette, Nick, you'll see, Michelle, that it has that C90, Cara. And Cara, I'm wondering if you know, Jeremy, good evening. You're welcome to guess on this as well. Do you know, Cara, what that C90 stands for? And before you answer, I'm going to ask the guests, if you want to put in the chat, what does that C90 indicate on the cassette tape? See if our audience knows. And that's, I'm going to start tonight off.
Oh, man.
And Cara, you probably didn't expect me to start with that, did you?
No, I sure did not, Ted.
Did you intentionally pick a cassette with a C90 on it or no?
I can't say that I did. I was just looking for some 80s inspiring things, but I do think that I know what the 90 is for.
Oh, yeah, because you're reading all the stuff in the chat now. That's right.
No. I actually think that I know. Okay. They're giving it away.
I do know this one. My dad's a huge music guy, but I'll reserve it. So.
All right.
It was important to have one that was 90 sometimes, you know.
My dad was a TDK
Okay, Nick,
guy.
why is that, Nick? Why is 90? Why was that important?
Because, one of the best things about, growing up in the 80s was, just one friend had to buy the cassette tape, and then you could copy it for all of your friends. Right. And so a C90 or 90-minute cassette tape meant that you could fit an entire album really on both sides. So the drawback, Ted, I hope I didn't give away the answer too early.
Great.
But the drawback was once you made about 4 or 5 copies of that album it didn't exactly sound the same when you hit play.
Right. The copies were not quite as pristine as maybe the first one, if that was pristine. Happy Monday to you, Ellen. So Linda, okay, I see that you got that right as well as Nick. Thank you. 90-minute cassette, Kara, is what it means. Now, follow-up question for the audience. Since those cassettes played on both sides, was it 90 minutes total or 90 minutes per side? Okay. And Michelle's drawing a blank on that one. Like, no way.
No, it was 45
Total.
minutes per side.
Yeah. I was more in the era of burning CDs. I grew up doing that with my brother.
You missed out on that whole era of having to wait till your favorite song played on the radio to hit record when they did like the top 10 countdown.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
That's how it worked. So
That was how it worked.
right. So, all right. Welcome everybody. So Chad, good evening. Yes. And have a good tape. And Nick, those tapes only lasted so long, right? They didn't last like, forever and infinity. Right. So
No, especially if you were driving around in your mom's old car, that cassette player was bound to eat it at some point. And then, you could put a number 2 pencil in the hole and wind it back up.
that's right. So the challenge, Nick, was that you could end up with a 60-minute, right, cassette, or there were even ones that were shorter than that. I think there were even like 30-minute ones or even less than that. So Cindy, I think it was the total time as well. Okay. I'm not quite sure on that answer. I'm looking for it myself. So, all right. So great stuff. So Nick, welcome. And thank you for being with us tonight. So tell us, UFO Drive, what do you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So, UFO Drive was founded about 5 years ago by Aidan McLean, our CEO. And here he was, a businessman traveling, and he said, why is it that my car rental experience hasn't improved since the 80s? And so he said, what if we could build a system where we were connecting, let's assume that in the future at some point, almost all the cars will be electric. Okay. Everything will be connected to the cloud. And people really want a VIP self-service experience. So no hassles, no pushy upsells or sales guys, the vehicle ready when you arrive, and you get exactly what you booked. And so that's where we got our start. During the pandemic, you weren't going to sell a lot of automated car rental software. And so we started to open our own consumer-facing car rental businesses in Europe to prove the technology and help us to advance the platform forward. So here it is, some 5 years later, and we've expanded into the US. We have over 30 consumer rental locations today, but we're also leveraging our technology platform to help other fleets to electrify, automate, and frankly, be more efficient and make more money. We call the software platform UFO Fleet, as opposed to sort of the big company name and the retail brand UFO Drive.
And you've got great experience with that fleet management because you cut your teeth in our industry with a lot of leading companies, okay, in doing that. And it's exciting what you're doing right now. And so who are the early who is involved? Is it dealers? Is it independent business people, airport locations? What is it?
Yeah, thanks. So we were really lucky as the software platform started to go to market about 2 years ago. Our very first, I should say, our largest customer today is Hertz. And so we're helping Hertz, for example, with a number of projects. One of them is their subscription program for Uber drivers. So you probably read in the news that Hertz ordered some 180,000 Teslas, part of which was to go to a program to electrify Uber fleets. Well, as you can imagine, that program has to be as efficient as possible. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things we're doing is helping Hertz with that program, among other things. We're also helping other fleet management companies to automate their work, both with electric vehicles as well as with mixed fleets, since there isn't as much EV metal on the road as there will be, say, in a year or two. So we're helping a lot of companies as they sort of evolve that fleet from ICE to electric and help them to learn, this new mindset.
Linda Hansen, thank you. Everybody, we invite your questions tonight for Nick in the chat. If you'd like to ask him a question, please put it in there. Nick, I've got a question on infrastructure. So, we're hearing a lot of times that, infrastructure is not as available as it could or should be. What's your, you've got the inside track on that. Tell us what's going on with that.
Yeah, that's a great question. And, I joined UFO Drive just over a year ago when we closed our Series A funding. And decided to expand into the U.S. And I can tell you in 2022, everyone was really excited about electric vehicles, but the year of 2022 was really about infrastructure. It was about getting the charging stations built, both for commercial applications as well as for the general public, and also about lining up funding, from the government and other resources to accelerate that infrastructure. Now in 2023, we're seeing a lot more of that metal hit the road. And so this year, it's all about how do we make consumers feel confident that when they get an electric vehicle, they're going to be able to go where they need to go, do what they need to do, and not have to worry about charging and these sort of logistics.
Wow. And another question I have is, what about that, again, that long distance rental, right? Typically if you can rent let's say at Hertz or at National, we talked about them earlier. If you rent a vehicle, you can go from A to B, you can do a one-way rental. Is that available yet with what you're doing? Or is it, no, they bring it back to the original location, or how does that work?
Yeah, that's great. So, right now our software platform, which we call UFO Fleet, or it's really an operating system for EVs. We're supporting the daily rental sort of process, like your Hertz type of or airport type of model. We're supporting subscription, or whether it's weekly or monthly sort of long-term rentals. We're also supporting on-demand sort of scan and go. And we're doing this for cars, for vans and trucks. And we also have a project with a large, say a high-end e-bike company as well. When you ask about one ways, I think part of the question is assuming, hey, am I going to be able to get there?
Right.
And how do we get there? And, what we found really exciting about electric vehicles is they're really ready to be connected to the cloud. So our platform is always watching these EVs and making sure that the charge level is sufficient for what the driver is trying to do. We're also connected to the charge point operations. So our software makes it so easy for the consumer. When the charge level gets to 30%, for example, we start buzzing the driver and say, we can tell you're headed north on this highway. The next best charge point is going to be this one. And we can see that there are 3 available chargers there. And it'll take you about 40 minutes to go from 20% to 85% once you get there. And let's say that they're asleep at the wheel, for example, and now the charge level gets to 18%. Well, our software is proactively now reaching out to our operations team and saying, hey, Nick isn't answering us. We're letting him know about the charge. He's going to need a hand. Why don't you take action before you have to send a charging truck or a tow or something. And so we take the sting out of it for the driver, give them that confidence. And because of that, we're seeing that this platform can help OEMs and dealers to sell more electric vehicles because they can build that consumer confidence.
Michelle, we just did a panel last week with Ed Robertson Tully and David Spizak, and we talked about the fact that when a customer buys an EV vehicle, when they come in for a loaner car for service, they expect to get another EV vehicle. They don't want to have an ICE vehicle to drive. So, Nick, have you come across that as well? Is the expectation? So,
absolutely, and that's why our consumer-facing locations have been so successful in the U.S. We've opened more than 15 just in the last year. Our latest and greatest location is in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm excited about that because it's opening just a week before the International Car Rental Show that happens next week at the Paris Hotel. And the reason why these self-service EV rental locations are so popular in places like the Strip, but also here in Harvard Square, Boston, is when EV drivers travel, when they arrive, they want an EV. And they want that same experience they had at home. Maybe they're committed to it for environmental reasons, or maybe they just love the user experience that you get when you're in a brand new Tesla or Polestar. And so we found that EV drivers tend to prefer them after a very short time.
Okay. I know Cindy's got a question. Kara, any thoughts on some of the things you're hearing so far?
It's very interesting to me. And I know as a person that doesn't drive EVs, that I have that EV range anxiety. So if there's any way to overcome that in any particular way, I would be a fan of that, because even the few times I've driven an electric car, I'm like, oh my gosh, am I going to run out of juice? So I like that it kind of tells you, hey, here's a charging station. You got X many miles to go, and we can send you on your way there. So I would use that feature for sure.
Absolutely, Kara. And, we're trying to, the pandemic did something interesting where, it was a lot of the same ideas that we had before the pandemic, but sort of thrown into a mixing bowl and shaken around to see what could come out. And one of the things that sort of came out on the other side is this idea of self-service being a VIP experience. And, for example, an executive today doesn't want to go into the rental car counter and wait in line, no matter how nice they are to him, or no matter how many upgrades they promise him. He just wants to get in the car and go, and he wants the car that he was promised when he was promised it. And so, not only are there concerns about charging from the consumer perspective, Kara, it's also on the operator side. When a car rental company is now renting EVs, they're doing something a little bit different than they were before. And so there's some anxiety on that side too. So part of what we do is, when we're taking a reservation, we're asking the customer, how far are you going to go? And then with our technology, we can make sure that car has the right amount of charge for the trip he's going to take. And so this sort of balancing and making sure that and the good news is, Ted, it can be automated. My software can turn the switch to start the charging at 5 a.m. So you're not paying at 2 p.m. for fast charging for a 3 o'clock pickup. And so there's a lot of efficiencies that can be gained on the operations side, as well as providing a great consumer experience and opening new markets.
Michelle, we're familiar with that executive wanting to get in the car and go, right?
Absolutely. So my husband travels all over the world, and picking up a car rental has always just been a sore spot because, like you said, when you get there and they don't have the car ready that you wanted, or something has changed in your reservation, it can be incredibly frustrating, especially for somebody that's on the go. He has to go to, bases and things like that, working within our, our military. And so it can be really frustrating. And I think just having that convenience of being able, I'm assuming with your stations, you basically would just swipe your credit card, swipe your ID. I don't know what they do in terms of, insurance verifications or things like that, but having that convenience and just being able to get a car, go and be right on your way, I think that's going to be a game changer for everybody that does that.
Nick, the question from Linda Hansen actually begs another question. She says, what kind of orientation do first-time EV renters receive? Are most EV renters first-time, Nick, or are they already familiar with EVs?
That's a great question, Linda, and I appreciate it. When we got started, we found that some 90% of our renters were first-time EV users, and a lot of them were actually renting one of our EVs so that they could have an extended test drive before they went and purchased one. And so you can see where I'm going here. We can make sure that they have a great experience on the front end. So somebody can book one of our vehicles on the consumer side through the website, or they can download the app first. Once they've downloaded the app, they're walked through registration, everything done through the app, uploading your license, whatever the requirements are, insurance. In some places, it might be proof of a local address. And we've automated all of this. So we're doing facial recognition and matching the face on the license to the face on the passport. We're making sure that the person is standing at the vehicle in person and not just holding the camera up to a photo of themselves. All of these risk mitigation processes that are traditionally done at a rental counter can be done much faster and much more securely via a smartphone. For novice EV drivers, they're picking which vehicle with UFO Drive that they'd want. So if they're renting a Tesla Model 3, for example, there's a series of customer videos that they can watch once they've made the booking that tell them, hey, when you get to the car, here's what to expect. Here's how you open the frunk, right? What is a frunk? Okay. And so one of the nice things, Linda, is through the mobile app, we have 24/7 live chat. If anyone has any questions, they can chat with an agent or call us. We can even pop open the trunk if you can't find the button or the charger with our connected car telematics. So it's a great question. And one of the great things that our software allows dealers and OEMs to do is put more people behind the wheels of an EV, whether it's a rental, loaner, or a subscription program. And that leads to more sales. So if you can't close the deal on the sales floor or the lease floor, would you like to rent one?
Yeah. And Nick, a lot of the technology you're talking about in terms of the facial recognition, uploaded the driver's license, this is already in dealerships today and is available on a couple different companies' platforms that we've seen here at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'll mention TSD as one, Dealerware as another. So, Carol, when you went in today to have your vehicle serviced, if you had gotten a loaner car, you likely, Nick, she likely would have encountered one of those platforms, Dealerware or TSD, in getting that loaner cars, because they would have verified all those things the way you just described, and then it all seamlessly on the iPad, for example.
Yeah, that's great. And and it's by the way, I'm familiar with both of those companies. There's great people there, and so what you've described is sort of the traditional sort of rental model or loaner model, trying to catch up with technology. What we've done is we've even taken the people out of that. So we've automated it to a point where you don't need that person behind the counter at the dealership in order to do that verification or hand over the keys. We have a digital key that goes right to the smartphone and can unlock the car 24 hours a day. So for me, I prefer to drop my car off for service on Sunday night so that I don't have to miss any work on Monday morning. So to be able to drop off the car on a Sunday night, for example, jump in my loaner car without having to deal with a counter and still have it be a safe and secure process for the dealership or rental car company is a huge advantage, and gets a really great response from consumers.
The fact that he said that, I do have a quick question, because I know that there's been a lot of talk about people with privacy concerns over things like that. So what kind of safeguards are in place if, let's say, you're going to a station like that? Obviously, we've heard people having credit cards, stolen from going to gas pumps, things like that. What kind of privacy things are in place to protect the consumer?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So, consumer privacy is really important. And, our headquarters is in Europe, where the consumer privacy safeguards have been even stricter than they have been here in the States. And so it's a trick to be compliant with all of these things. So we leverage partners like Digishore, for example, like Stripe, so that this personal client information isn't anywhere that we can get to it, but that these clients are opting in the right way, so that dealers get marketable and useful data that they can use on the sales floor later.
I love it. I see Steve Apicella in the chat along with many others. Steve, don't go away. We have something coming up for you in a little bit. So, Kara, this is amazing stuff.
It is. I mean, the future is here. That's what I feel like this conversation is about tonight. So always impressed by something that makes everyone's lives easier. I'm very fast-paced, always on the go. So I love something that's not confusing, gets me where I need to go the quickest. So props to you guys.
Now we just need him to fly, right?
Right.
So, Nick, are you actively expanding the network, working with dealers? Or, tell me, what are you doing now? What's the next steps?
Yeah, we're really excited, Ted, because not only have we had a great response from traditional car rental operations who want to upgrade their user experience, we've also done some work with large fleet management companies.
Okay.
So if you think about the application of EV management software for things like big box retailers and deliveries, or think about even small electric vehicles. Think about all of these high-end golf cars that you see driving around the villages in Florida.
Yeah.
Well, those vehicles need to be fixed, and those customers need replacement vehicles and rental vehicles as well. So we've been really excited about these other segments that are catching on to EV fleet automation, both on the B2B side as well as the B2C side.
All right. Kara is going to play a little game with our audience. And in the green room before we started, Nick, I asked you what year you were born. And I think you have a photo of us to share from back in the 80s, right?
Yeah. So a fun fact about me is so I was born in 1976. So I was really living my best life in the 80s. And at the end of the 80s, I was in a high school punk rock band. And so we had lots of fun. Two of the members of that punk rock band are now in a popular band called the Dropkick Murphys, really popular here in Boston around St. Patrick's Day. And so this is a picture of me playing bass in 1989 in that punk band. And and somehow I managed to get into technology and automotive.
All right. Well, Kara, I think that kicks us off tonight.
I think so. I mean, Nick got us started with the old school photos, and that kind of leads us into our new game, like Ted was saying. And if you guys are familiar with Guess Who, it's a spinoff of that. We're going to show you guys some pictures of different people that are familiar faces on the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I think all of them have been on the After Dark show. And hopefully everyone will be able to guess down in the comments below who they think these pictures are, because they are from the 80s. Okay. And I think we have 7 of them tonight. So comment down below for us. And our guests don't even know what they're getting into either. So please help them out in the comments tonight, because this is going to be really fun. So,
and Tony Owens, we need your help tonight too, I think, on some of these. So stay tuned. Here we go.
Okay, here is the first one. Okay. So we are looking at the man at the top there, I guess the father in this photo. Does he look familiar to anyone? Does anybody recognize who this might be?
This is a very familiar face on the Fixed Ops Roundtable, Kara. And he's involved in a lot of conversations. He's all over the events, and he's no stranger to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I can say that. I know who this is. So.
Is that Ed Roberts?
Ooh.
It's hard to tell.
It's not Ed Roberts.
It looks like it could be, though, Kara, right? A little bit.
A little bit, yeah, with the mustache. That would have been my guess, was Ed Roberts.
Yeah.
We got some
very clean cut with the hair, though. Yeah.
So,
looks like a Family Ties photo.
We have a couple people that guessed it right in the comments.
Cindy Reynolds got it.
Jeremy and Cindy got this one correct. It is Sean Butler. So I know he is watching with us tonight. So that is Sean from the 80s.
Fantastic.
Very nice.
All right, let's see what we got next. Here's number 2. This is also a very familiar face on the Fixed Ops Roundtable. We see a lot from this man pretty frequently.
I know who it is only because I had that picture. So
yes.
I won't say who it is.
Hush your mouth, don't say who it is. Yes, this person is on the roundtable. He's done a lot of panels, and he's very outspoken, Kara. I'll say that, right?
He is a man of many words. I will say that, Ted.
Yes, and I think he's in. I've seen him tonight in the chat too. So
He has been watching tonight.
Tony, can you guess who this is?
It is
on the
not.
TV there.
It's not Tully, but
No, it's
that's a
not
good
Tully.
guess.
It's a good guess, though. Yeah.
Anybody think they know who this is? I don't think I would have guessed this one right, Ted.
Yeah, this is a tough one. Looks a little bit like Tully, right, Tony? But it's not Tully.
Everyone's guessing Tully.
Yeah.
Like I said, I can't guess because I know who it is.
All right,
so.
Michelle, you want to give it away? Who is it?
It is Steve Apicella.
Ooh, Strategic DX, Steve
Yep.
Apicella from Colorado. So there we go. Yep, Steven Apicella. Right there you go, Sean Butler. Right.
That's a great look, Stephen.
It is.
All
Good
right,
job,
our
Karen.
next one here
Ooh, wow. Yeah.
cracks me up.
No clue.
I love the Afghan, right?
Yes. Yeah. Look
I
at
think
this.
I would have got this one.
You think you would have?
Yes.
No way I would have gotten it.
I think
I
would've
have
got this
no
one.
idea.
He's been around the Roundtable since freshman yearbook, Steve, 85. There we go. The young man that you're seeing now has been on every Roundtable since the second one. He's never missed one, and he is very involved in technology as well. And he was in the chat earlier tonight.
He was on from the start of the show. Hopefully he's still watching with
And
us.
Kara sang to him during the last Fix Ops Roundtable Wild West, as I recall, in one of the intros.
Oh, I did. I forgot about that.
Or maybe it was the one before. Maybe Dare to Dream.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He watches almost every After Dark show.
Kara, what was the song you sang? You want to give us that tune?
Oh my goodness. Somebody just guessed and they saved me from having to sing it.
Oh, Jeremy, you saved her.
Thank
Owen
you.
Moon.
Is that Owen? Oh,
It's
It's
Owen Moon.
Owen Moon.
Owen.
All right.
This is pretty good.
Let's see what we have next here. Okay, this one is one of my favorite ones.
That has to be Sarah Van Tyne. It has to be.
What gave it away?
The horse.
The horse.
That is adorable.
That is Miss Sarah on her.
Sarah Van Tyne at the age of what, 3? 2 or 3, right?
Yep. Riding
her horse.
horses
Look at
from
that.
day one.
And I asked her, and I asked if that was, Kara wanted to know if that was her mom. No, that was a lady who was working with a horse. Her mom took the picture, Kara, she said.
Oh,
so,
wow.
yeah. Sarah Van Tyne. There we go. Back
All
in the
right.
80s. I
Now-
love the next one you have ready to go.
This next one.
Cracks me up.
Let's see if anybody gets this one. I don't know if I would have got this one or not. But after I knew who it was, I was like, I can't unsee it.
Look at the mullet. Look at all the hair.
Oh, I wish I had hair like that.
Yeah.
No idea.
All right. Anybody know who this is? He has to do with the telephone. It has a lot to do with the phones.
Yep.
Yep.
I
But
don't
today he
know.
does not have this hair. The hair is all gone.
Tony says he's drawn a blank here. Man, nobody's guessing this one.
Yeah, one of the biggest names in phones in automotive. Been around a long time, as you can see.
Want to give this one away, Ted?
John Traver.
Oh, wow.
See, once you know who it is, you can't unsee
No,
it.
you can't. Yeah, you're right. Now you can't unsee it.
Yeah, that's right.
John Traver. All right, this next one is one of my favorites.
Oh, cutie. Look at this.
So cute.
Look at this. Look at the bows, Kara. Wow.
Any guesses on who this
Very good, Linda.
wonderful lady might be? We see her very, very often.
Tony Owens. Do you know who this is, Tony?
She's
Tony
very
will know her.
heavily involved in the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Very much, yeah.
Hopefully somebody guesses this one right.
Natasha's on, John Traver. Has to be the chameleon. Is it you, Kara?
Tony, I wasn't even thought
She
of.
wasn't born yet in the 80s. No.
That is too funny. That is too funny. Yeah, I don't even think I was thought of back then.
All right. It's Michelle McLean.
3 years.
I would have gotten
Oh,
this.
Michelle.
There
Owen
you
got
go.
it right.
Owen knew it.
Yes.
Owen knew it.
3
Yep.
years old.
And the last one here. We had to follow suit with Sarah's horse picture with one more. Any wild guesses on who this young man might be on this horse?
Natasha says Kaylee. Oh, maybe it's for the last one. That could have been Kaylee.
I love this photo. It's,
The hint is he's not wearing a tie.
yeah, true. He's not wearing a tie. He's the leader of the pack.
Tully?
No,
No.
The hat might be Tully. Yeah.
he really owns the Fixed Ops Roundtable game.
No idea.
No idea. I try not to
Is
give.
it Ted when he was little?
It is Ted.
Oh my goodness.
Ted on the horse.
That's great, Ted.
With no
That's
tie.
great.
It's B-top, Tony.
Aw.
That
Good
one
stuff.
is.
I didn't know you rode horses, Ted.
Yeah, I didn't know it either, apparently. So, this stuff keeps coming up. Well, that was great. That was a lot of fun.
That is. It's a lot of fun.
I like that tonight, Karen. That was good.
We find out something new about Ted Ings every time we have an After Dark show.
That's so true. That's so true. Last time I was on, we found out he knew Bon Jovi. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, last one. So, all right, great stuff, everybody. Hey, Nick, thank you so much for being our guest tonight.
I can't thank you enough for having me, Ted. It was so much fun. Thanks for letting me tell everybody about UFO Drive and our software for EV automation. This is a great platform.
Yeah, a lot of fun. All right, Kara, one more time. So the big event is coming up in May, right? And that's going to be May 15th?
15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th. So if you haven't already got your complimentary tickets, get them today at fixedopsroundtable.com.
And Kara, we have something going on a week ahead of this, right, as well?
We do. Hopefully everybody's been paying attention to our social media platforms because we announced a major thing, and that is our pop-up events. So we will have our very first pop-up event at Bozard Ford Lincoln the week before the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
All right. And that's going to be live, carried live as well?
It's live and in person. We're both going to be in Florida, myself and Ted. It's going to be tons of fun, and it's going to be aired live on social media. So hopefully everybody catches it on May 11th.
You do not want to miss it, everybody. It's a week before the roundtable. Sarah, they all knew it was you, Sarah. The horse gave it away. What a great picture.
so cute.
Good stuff. Everybody, we look forward to seeing you at the next Fixed Ops Roundtable, May 15th through 18th. And of course, catch us on social media at Bozard Ford for the pop-up on May 11th. And Michelle, it just gets bigger and better, right?
It's what we do. Yes, super exciting to keep growing and growing and growing.
All right.
Thank you guys for watching with us tonight. Thank you, Nick. So nice to finally meet you. Thanks for being on with us tonight, Michelle. And I have to say, if anybody wants to submit some 80s pictures for Wednesday, send those to myself or Ted, and we'll throw them on there and see if people can guess who you are from back in the 80s. So do that for us if you are willing to. So
Do you think Tony Owens has some pictures from the 80s?
Oh, yes, for sure. And I feel like we need one of Tully now because everybody was guessing Tully. So Tully
And Ed, we need Ed Roberts.
Yes. Send in your pictures, and hopefully everybody is watching on Wednesday at 8 p.m. We will see you guys there.